You're listening to the Dental Zone podcast. I'm Dr. Rachel Hall. This is the place that supports you to understand your dental issues, the causes and how to prevent them, empowering each individual to get the most out of life while bearing a stunning smile. Hello and welcome to the Dental Zone podcast. I'm Dr. Rachel Hall, holistic dentist from Brisbane, Australia. Today I'm going to be having some food for thought for you. If you want to know more about holistic dentistry and how to have optimum dental health and have a healthy and fantastic long life, then you can head on over to evolvedental.com.au or holisticdentistry.au to find out more. But don't do that yet, because we're going to get right into it. We're going to get into the zone. I've been talking recently about sort of diet, nutrition, lifestyle, and things that you can do to support your health and well-being that will impact naturally onto your dental health as well. And today I'm talking about food. So this episode is called Food for Thought. What we eat affects our health. Now that's food for thought, but it shouldn't be. Recently, I went out for a really incredible meal at my local Thai restaurant in Kenmore, and it got me thinking about the way we eat and what foods we eat. My salad of herbs, garlic, onions, fresh produce, and seafood basted in chili and aromatics was not only delicious, but natural and extremely good for me. No sugar, no gluten, no dairy, no grains. It was light, it was filling, it was tasty, it was satisfying, and it was just what my body ordered. Now, food can either work with your body to fuel it perfectly and even help it to repair and heal and grow strong, or it can be really damaging. It can make us tired or overactive. It can add to inflammation and toxins and ultimately lead to disease and illness within our body. Now, every time you eat or drink, you are either feeding disease or you are fighting it. Consider that every time you eat or drink something, it is either healing you or harming you. Now, that is a powerful and thought-provoking statement, and that is food for thought. I wonder how many times we just reach for something because we're hungry. We open the pantry, the snack drawer, the fridge, and we just go, oh, I'm going to eat that. The same when we're doing our supermarket shop, and we don't actually consciously stop and ask ourselves, what is that food going to do for my body? Hey, it might taste nice in my mouth, it might emotionally satisfy me, it may fulfill some sort of craving, it may make me feel better, it may make me a bit sluggish and more tired, and those things can give us quite a boost or a thrill emotionally, but are we really thinking about what is that food going to do for my body? What nutrients does it contain that are going to help support me to be well? Or what might it contain that could impact on my health and well-being? And look, we have the saying, everything in moderation, and that includes moderation itself. I'm not asking you to give up all your so-called favorite foods and your treats, which I don't think should be called treats when we look at what that sugar and all that fat and crap that they put into it does to us. I'm not saying that you should become like a food monk or nun and you have to abstain from everything, but I just want you to start. If health is a priority to you and living a long, healthy life is a priority, then you need to start looking at your lifestyle and the food that you put in your body. We can't argue with this fact. Rates of illness and disease are increasing. The numbers of people with heart disease, cancer, diabetes, autoimmune conditions is going through the roof. There is not a day that goes by at my holistic dental practice here in Brisbane that I do not see someone who doesn't have, I'm going to see someone with diabetes, cancer, allergies, heart disease, and a whole host of other conditions like high blood pressure, thyroid problems, cognitive decline, arthritis, gut issues. And many of these could be considered diseases of our lifestyle. I question people. What sort of diet are you on? How are you eating? How are you living? How are you sleeping? What are your stress levels like? What's your nutrition? Are you drinking enough water? And many people will tell me that they eat a good, balanced diet. But when you actually ask them what they're eating, what do you actually eat? If they were to keep a food diary, the majority are consuming too much sugar, too much salt, bad fats, and too much carbohydrate. Essentially, they're eating empty calories devoid of the vital components that your body needs for health. They drink too much coffee and alcohol, and hardly a sip of water passes their lips. And as for exercise and time to de stress and relax, well, just forget it. It doesn't happen. Our lives have become too complicated, too busy, too jam packed full of stuff, and we have lost the capacity to live in a way that allows us to have a lifestyle that puts our body and our health and well-being as number one. Now, the key to staying well and beating the odds so as not to add to the illness and disease statistics boils down to very much how we choose to live and how we eat. So, how do we eat to support our body to be healthy? Well, we choose natural, fresh products over processed. We have a diet that leans towards proteins and vegetables, not carbohydrates and sugars. And we also don't overindulge in fruit. Too much fruit, too much acidity, too much sugar. There's this thing, I don't know if it's the same everywhere else in the world, but here in Australia, you're supposed to have, your 7 a day. It used to be 5 a day. Now it's 7 a day. And that's fruits and vegetables. But people think that that means they can have 7 serves of fruit and that they're being healthy. That's too much fruit, guys. It's too much boost juice. 2 serves of fruit a day, and then 5 serves portions of vegetables. That's probably a better way of doing it. You want to look at your good oils like your omega-3 found in fish and walnuts and seeds like flax. You want to avoid your vegetable oils, so your canolas. You want to avoid trans fat, and remember that a small amount of saturated fat is actually okay. You are not going to end up clogging your arteries with small amounts of animal fat. You want to be fats like coconut oil is great, avocado, olive oil. Drink plenty of water. Listen to last week's episode. Drink plenty of water. Good mineral water from Europe is great. It not only hydrates you, but it has the minerals your body needs for health and energy production. Alkaline water would also be the same. This one's really simple, but it's hard to do. And for some people, it is hard to discern because they think they're hungry when they're bored. They think they're hungry when they're stressed. They get hungry when they get emotional. And that's all comfort eating. Then, or dysfunctional eating. I eat dysfunctionally sometimes. I'm not perfect. And I'm not telling you you have to be perfect. But a lot of people also eat when they're thirsty because they don't realize the difference between their thirst drive and their hunger drive. So I can say to you, only eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. But if you don't know when you're hungry or thirsty, then I would suggest if you think you're hungry, just have a little glass of water and wait a moment and see if you still feel hungry. Now, how do you stop when you're full? Most of us are eating, watching TV, we're distracted, we're not paying attention, we're snacking constantly, so you're never going to really feel full. Try and cut down on your grazing and your snacking. Have 2, 3 meals a day. Eat slowly. Give your stomach time to realize it's got food in it and then to signal to your brain through the release of the hormones like ghrelin and insulin, etc., that you've actually had enough to eat. Eat calmly and quietly. No, you can chitty chat, you can have fun, you can have conversation over dinner, but I mean, like, you haven't got loads of stuff going on around you, free of distractions like being on your computer or your phone or watching TV. Eat slowly, chew your food well. This helps with your digestion, but it also allows you to recognize when you've eaten enough. As I've just said, you've got to give your stomach a chance to know it's been fed and then to tell your brain that it's okay. I would also recommend reduce your portion size. You don't have to have your plate just piled up super high with food. You can always go back for a little bit more if you aren't quite full. But often, if it's on your plate, you just eat it because it's there instead of stopping and going, I'm actually full, guys. I don't need any more. So just try a smaller plate, smaller portion, and see if that helps. Limit your salt and sugar intake. To make your food tasty, you can add herbs and spices, and that's going to make your food very satisfying. Plus, those herbs and spices have medicinal properties. I'm going to say it again. If you think you're hungry but you aren't really sure, have a drink of water. As often people confuse their thirst reflex, and it is actually a reduced reflex because we don't honor it, and then we mistake that for hunger. Now, a real simple tip. Everyone's going to go, oh, shop at the produce at the market, try and get it from farm fresh. It's not practical for everybody. We live busy lifestyles. I'll tell you, I do a lot of my food shopping online and I have it delivered because that saves me time and it saves me the stress because I don't really like going to the supermarket. So I get all my staples and essentials that way. And then I go to my local butcher and I go to my local grocer to get my perishables. So if you do shop at the supermarket, great on you. You're not getting takeaway food and ready meals constantly delivered to your door. Uber Eats isn't your best friend, and neither is the local pizza shop. Shop around the edges at the supermarket, because around the perimeter of your supermarket, you go in, and what's the first thing you walk into? Yes, I know they have all the bloody specials on, and there's all your chocolate and your donuts and, your Christmassy things if it's that time of year. But the first area that you walk into in the supermarket is the fresh fruit and vegetables. So you go in, you walk down the area, you get your fresh fruits and veggies, you get your herbs, your spices. Then the next area is usually your deli, your meats, your fish. Carry on round the edge, your dairy if you're into that, eggs, and then, your fresher produce. I am a big fan of frozen vegetables. I love frozen green beans, frozen broccoli. They are picked and harvested and frozen real quickly. They have not been in cold storage and sprayed with chemicals for months on end. And I just bang them in the oven and roast them, and they cook beautifully. But if you shop around the edges of the supermarket, you're going to avoid all those aisles where all the sugar and confectionery and crappy stuff is. Go for fresh food over processed, and avoid those aisles that are full of food, in inverted commas, that is made of chemicals you can't pronounce, let alone know what they are going to do or doing to your body. Just because you can ingest it doesn't mean you can digest it. Just because it is packaged and is told to you that it is food doesn't mean it's good for you. Nature knows best. She's provided us with exactly what your body needs for the best health, and often in the right combinations. So, for example, something like fruit that is naturally high in sugar has pectins and other things in there that allow the sugars to be slowly released into your body, so they're low glycemic index, so you don't get a sugar rush and crash. Nature has provided all the minerals in the right quantities, your macros and your micros. Nature knows best. Try and eat things that nature has provided. So the next time you go for that processed meat, that processed food, that can of soft drink, just because it makes you feel good, but doesn't really do your body good. Remember this: the food you eat can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poisoning. Are you eating to heal your body and keep it healthy, or is what you're eating harming you? When you have food, I want you to have that thought, and that will support you to make more caring and honoring choices for your body. And the reason I want that to happen is I want you to live a long, healthy life. But also, if you eat well and you've got optimal nutrition and you're well nourished, you're going to have, guess what? Yes, you're going to have better dental health, and then you're going to need less trips to the dentist. You're going to need less fillings, and you don't have to be spending all your money on getting your teeth fixed. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the Dental Zone podcast. I'm Dr. Rachel Hall, holistic dentist from Brisbane, Australia. If you want to come and see me as a patient, my number is 0737 201811. Check out evolvedental.com.au or holisticdentistry.au. And until next time, yes, you've guessed it, stay in the zone. You've been listening to the Dental Zone podcast with Dr. Rachel Hall. For health, lifestyle, fitness, and a great smile, get in the zone.